First, we need to consider the investments. Okay, we'll take the investments. First investment is made by the parent company. Then the total amount of the investment belongs to the parent. We take the total amount, 135,000. Investment account credit, CUC account debit. Then the second investment is made by entity S. Then from this investment, as the investment is made by entity S, the parent owns only 75%. Parent owns only 75%. 130,000 into 75%. 97,500. Whatever the remaining 25% belongs to the NCI. Then investment account credit 130,000, COC account debit 97,500, NCI debit 32,500. Okay. Then we need to take the proportionate and the retained balance. Stated capital of SS is 100,000. Then quickly tell me the pre-acquisition retained earnings of S and SS. Quickly tell me the pre-acquisition retained earnings of S and SS. Okay, good. How about the others? Tell me the pre-acquisition retained earnings of S and SS is good. Now, as we identified the cutoff date as of 1st September 2023. 1st September 2023, we have been given this information. On 1st September 2021, retained earnings in S were 28,000 and SS were 20,000. On 1st September 2023, figures were 40,000 and 60,000. Out of these figures, we need to take the figures as of 1st September 2023. Hope now it is clear to you. Then we need to take 40,000 and 60,000 here. Is it clear to you? Good. Then we'll take the proportionate amount. Then the NCI is 25% here. Here the NCI is 40%. Then COC debit, NCI, here it's 40,000. Here it's 64,000. COC debit, NCI credit. COC debit, NCI credit. That's double entry. Okay, then now on our debit hand side, we have the 100% value of the book value of the net assets. The market value of the net assets. Then we need to compare it with the book values. Then we'll transfer these balances. Stated capital of S can be transferred to here. Hundred and 120 in full. Okay. Here also. $100,000. Then yeah, I did this one. I did this one in the second lecture also. Okay, anyway. Now, as the group policy, this is based on the group policy. Now, here, as you can see, there's no any mention about the fair value of the NCI. There's no any mention about the fair value of the NCI. If the fair value of the NCI is not given, we need to consider the group follows the proportionate share of net assets method. If the fair value of the NCI is not given, we need to assume that the group follows the proportionate share of net assets method, because otherwise we do not have enough information to calculate or get the fair value of the NCI. Therefore, if the fair is not given, then we need to follow the proportionate method. Under the proportionate method, what we do is we need to take the proportionate share of net assets to that acquisition. To calculate the NCI, we need to take the proportionate share of the net assets stood at the date of acquisition. Therefore, when it comes to the net assets represent the stated capital and the retained earnings or other reserves, other statutory reserves. Now, in this case, we are having the stated capital and the retained earnings only. Then we take the stated capital stood at the date of acquisition, and we take the retained earnings stood at the date of acquisition. And we get the total net assets here. Total of the net assets here. This is the net assets total. And from this total, we take the proportionate share from S entity. The percentage of NCI is 25%. We take 25% of the net assets. For the entity SS, the share of NCI is 40%. We take 40% of net assets. Is it clear now? We understood. Okay. Then we can transfer the pre-acquisition retained earnings. As there's no any adjustments for the pre-acquisition retained earnings, we can simply transfer the pre-acquisition retained earnings. Here, the pre-acquisition retained earnings is 40,000. And here, the pre-acquisition retained earnings is 60,000. We'll transfer this to the COC. OT. Yeah, it's 60,000. Okay. Now we can calculate the goodwill or the gain on bargaining purchase. It's here we are having a goodwill. It's 15,000 here. Here the goodwill is 1,500. 60 or 64. What you are referring to? 60,000 or 64? What you are referring to? Okay. Okay, then when it comes to the goodwill, as per the adjustment says that goodwill was written off some years ago following an impairment review. Goodwill was written off some years ago following an impairment review. Okay, when it comes to the goodwill, who owns this goodwill? In whose ledger do we have this goodwill balance? When it comes to goodwill, in whose ledger do we have this goodwill balance? Yes, always the goodwill or the gain on bargaining purchase is with the parent's ledger. Always the goodwill or the gain on bargaining purchase is with the parent's ledger. Then can you simply tell the double entry or writing of the goodwill? What would be the double entry for write off the goodwill? Quickly tell me the double entry. Yes. Goodwill credit, consolidated retained earnings. Now the retained earnings of the parent is represented by the consolidated retained earnings. Then the consolidated retained earnings debit 15,000 plus 1,500. Goodwill credit 16,500. Goodwill is credited by 16,500. Is that adjustment clear to you? What we did in that adjustment? Normally, when it comes to goodwill, as I mentioned, goodwill belongs to the parent's ledger. When it comes to the impairment, we cannot impair one portion of the goodwill. If it is impaired, we are valuing the goodwill as a bulk. Asset class impairment standard එක මත asset class එකක්ම තමයි අපි impairment review එකක් කරන්නේ. එතකොට තනි තනි asset එකට impairment review කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? buildings පහක් තියෙනවා නම් එක තනි තනි building එක අරගෙන අපිට impairment review කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? Can we do it? එක building එකක විතරක් impairment review එකක් කරලා අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද අපිට? Yes, the same principle applies here. Even this is a intangible asset. Now, this is because you asked the question, sir, if what happens assets would be impaired. That can't be happening in the practice. Okay? Did you get it? Okay, that is for the goodwill impairment. Okay, then okay, we have taken this adjustment was also taken. Okay, now we can start from the beginning. Okay, now we'll start with the first adjustment. Item purchased by S, company from SS, and remaining in the inventory on 31st March 2025 amounted 25,000. Okay, now who has made the sale? SS has made the sale. And S company has the inventory in their closing inventory. Is it clear? SS has made the sale, and this particular inventory is kept in the books of S. The profit element is 20% of the selling price for SS company. Then, which company has the unrealized profit or provision for unrealized profit? Which company has the unrealized profit? And to whom do we need to make the provision for unrealized profit? There are two entities engaged, entity S and entity SS. Now here we need to consider the provision for unrealized profit. Yes, good. The selling entity has the unrealized profit. The selling entity has the unrealized profit. Then the unrealized profit should be taken off from the whose retained earnings. The retained earnings of entity SS and from whose inventory. P. Are you sure? He doesn't know anything about this. P inventory in the plan is in the group, but actually the adjustment should be done with the inventory balance of entity S. Again, entity S inventory. Group එක ඇතුලේ හරි P ගෙන් තමයි එනවාට එක double entry එක. ඒ කියන්නේ entry එක යන්නේ P ගේ inventory වලින් අඩු කරොත් එහෙම හරියන්නේ නැහැ. S ගේ inventory වලින් තමයි අඩු වෙන්නේ. Okay, anyway. The adjustment will go for the group. Then quickly calculate the unrealized profit. it's 5,000 as this is a margin. It's 20% is a margin, 20% of the selling price. Then this is margin. When we are deciding the profit, there are two methods, margin and markup. Okay, we first get this calculation. The remaining inventory is 25,000. Remaining inventory is 25,000. And the profit margin is 20%. Profit margin is 20%. Therefore, the provision should be 20% of 25,000, 5,000. Okay, then from whose retained earnings are we going to get this amount? Okay, then from is company's retained earnings, we are going to make a provision for unrealized profit, rupees 5,000. Provision for unrealized profit, rupees 5,000. And the same amount should be deducted from the inventory of entities. Same amount should be deducted from the inventory of entity S. Okay, we can consider it later on. Okay. In the next adjustment. Included in the plant and equipment of SS company is a machine purchased from manufacturer's S company on 1st June 2024 for rupees 10,000. S company recorded a profit of rupees 2,000 on the sale of this machine. Okay. The group charges depreciation on plant and equipment at a rate of 10% on cost each year, including a full provision in the year of acquisition. Okay, first we'll take the unrealized profit of this intragroup transaction. How much is it? It is 2,000. And who holds this 2,000 unrealized profit? Who holds this 2,000 unrealized profit? කාගාවත් තියෙන මේ unrealized profit එක? කාගේ retained earnings වලින් අපි අයින් කරන්න ඕනේ? Yes. We need to take it out from entity S. Provision for unrealized profit, 2,000. And the same balance should be taken out from whose plant balance, plant and equipment balance. The same amount should be taken out from the plant and equipment balance of which entity? Entity SS. Entity SS. Okay. Then the adjustment is applicable from 1st June 2024. Now, we have removed 2,000 from the plant balance. And now we need to consider the depreciation adjustment. When it comes to depreciation adjustment, the group policy is to charge depreciation at a rate of 10% on cost each year, including full provision in the year of acquisition. Okay. Then for the year starting from 1st April and ends on 31st March 2025, we need to charge the full amount. That's for a 1 year period. Then, as you are preparing the consolidated financial statements as of 31st March 2025, how much need to Hmm. Hmm. I'm getting different answers. 1,222.22 cents. Quickly draw a timeline and tell me. Quickly draw a timeline and tell me. Kathleen or Angona? Adjustment කරන්න බෑ. Cool. මේක හරි simple adjustment එකක් කො. answers දෙක වැරදි දීපු. බලන්න ආයි check කරලා. එතනදී කියවන්න හොඳට ඇඩ්ජස්ට්මන්ට් එක කියවන්න ආයි පාරක්. はい、アンサーでやっけないか、彼。One who mentioned 150. Check your answer, team. What should be the answer? No, that's not the method. Again, read this small adjustment carefully. There's only two lines when it comes to the depreciation adjustment. Depreciation adjustment එකේ line දෙකයි ළමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඔය දෙක හරියට කියව ගන්න බෑනේ. කියන්න බලන්න. 1000 කියලා කිව්ව කෙනත් වැරදි. 222.2 722 කිව්ව කෙනත් වැරදි. පහව තව ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් කිව්වා 66.66 කියලා එකත් වැරදි. 150ත් වැරදි. good. මේ නස්ම ළමයි කර කලින් කට්ටියනේ. ඔව්. ඔය ආන්සර් එක හරි වෙයි. දැන් දීපු ආන්සර්ස් ටික හරි. ඒතර කලින් කට්ටියනේ. හරි. 1000 කියලා කෙනා හරි ආන්සර් එක අරගෙන. පාටුනේ ගත්තේ 10යි කියලා කාස්ට් එක. ඕ අර 222යි 722යි සහ 150 කිව්ව මේ හොයාගත්තද? මොකද කියලා. Okay, if I read this again, included in the plant and equipment of SS company is a machine purchased from manufacturer's S company on 1st June 2024. 1st June 2024 for rupees 10,000. S has recorded a profit of rupees 2,000 on the sale of machine. The group charges depreciation on plant and equipment at a rate of 10% on the cost each year, including the full provision in the year of acquisition, including the full provision in the year of acquisition, which means during the year of acquisition, for the year of acquisition, without considering the date, you charge for the whole year. You charge the depreciation for the whole year, for the year of acquisition. Ignoring the date of purchase, you charge a full provision for the depreciation for the whole year, for the year of acquisition. Okay. Now, when it comes to the timeline, we are required to prepare the financial statements as of 31st March 2025. Then that is the cutoff date, the year end. Then, what is the starting date? First, April in which year? 2024. මේක නේද අපේ current financial year එක වෙන්නේ. Is it clear? Then this date, 1st June 2024, falls somewhere in this timeline. Then irrespective of the date of acquisition, we need to charge the depreciation for the whole year. Is it clear now? Clear the හරි නේද තමයි? මම වැරදි නම් ඒත් කියන්න. මට තරදින් පුළුවන්. Okay, good. Now, if we are preparing the financial statements as of 31st March 2025, then we need to charge for the depreciation for 2 whole years. Okay. Now in this case, for 1 year. Then who have charged the additional depreciation? Now, who have charged the additional depreciation? Who holds this asset? Is have sold this. Then we took out the provision for unrealized profit from S. Then the additional depreciation is with whom? Yes, who's the buyer? Who is the buyer? Buyer is SS. Buyer is the SS. Then SS have made an additional depreciation provision. Additional depreciation provision. Then that need to be reversed. That need to be reversed. Then the property plant and the property plant and equipment or plant and equipment should be debited by 200. And the retained earnings of SS should be credited by 200. Is it clear? The plant balance of SS should be debited by 200 as the reversal of additional depreciation, and the retained earnings of SS should be credited by 200. Was this clear? නොයි තේරුණාද ඒක? ඩබල් එන්ට්‍රි එක හරිනේ. Okay. Then we'll go for the intra-group balances. Okay, we are having intra-group balances included in the trade receivables and trade payables. We have intra-group balances including trade receivables and trade payables. Okay. As we are preparing the financial statements from the parent's point of view, for S, for S, parent has a payable balance of 45,600. For S, parent has a payable balance of 45,600. For SS, parent has a payable balance of 28,900. These are the payable balances. Then when it comes to receivable, from S, S has identified a receivable balance of 56,900 from it, parent. S has identified a receivable balance from parent 56,900. 56,900. And SS has identified a receivable balance of 28,900. Okay, now when it comes to the payable and receivable of SS, it can be set off. Can be set off. But here there's a difference. Here there's a difference. What can be the reason for this difference? If we read further, here it says that S company received a check drawn by P company for rupees 11,300 on 28 March on 3rd April. Check was written, check was drawn before the year end, but it was received by the other entity after the year end, events after the reporting period. Or this is a cash in transit. How to account for this cash in transit? ඔයාලා මේකට accounts තියන්නේ cash in transit එක. කවුද check එක ලියලා තියන්නේ? Who has drawn the check? P. Then in P's bank balance, the P's bank balance, P bank balance එක මොකද ළමයි මෙන්න මේ got තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න increase the decrease the. Yes, good. Bank balance should be reduced, and at the same time, what should be happen to this payable balance? දැන් check එකක් මොකද තියෙනවා? ඒකට මොකද වෙන්නේ? check එකක් issue කරලා තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි මේ චෙක් එක හම්බ වෙලා තියෙනවද අර හෙට? නෑ. එහෙනම් මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ ඕනේ? අර දීපු ආන්සර්ස් දෙකෙන් මොකක්ද හරි ආන්සර් එක? ඉන්ක්‍රීස්ද ඩික්‍රීස්ද? මේ චෙක් එක ඉෂුව කරාට ඒ චෙක් එක තාම බැංක් වෙලා තියෙනවද? ඒක තාම රිසීව් වෙලා තියෙනවද? තාලමයි not received. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? බැංක් බැලන්ස් එකට මොකද වෙන්නේ? good. බැංක් බැලන්ස් එක ඉන්ක්‍රීස් වෙන්න ඕනේ. මොකද එයා ඒක අඩු කරාට ඒක ඇත්තටම තාම not received. ඊට පස්සේ එයා pay බැංක් චෙක් එක එයා දැන් කරලා තියෙන්නේ මොකද? බැංක් එක ඩෙබිට් බැංක් බැලන්ස් එක එයා ක්‍රෙඩිට් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඩෙබිට් කරලා තියෙනවා එයාගේ payable balance එකට. හැබැයි ඇත්තටම ඒ ක්‍රෙඩිටට ඒ payable balance එක හම්බ වෙලා නැහැ. එහෙනම් එයාගේ payable balance එක මොකද වෙන්න ඕනේ? payable balance එක වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ. payable balance එකත් වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට මෙතෙන් තව payable balance එකක් එනවා අපේ 11,300. Then ultimately මේකත් set off වෙනවා. මේකත් set off වෙනවා. intergroup balances දෙකම set off වෙනවා. set off වෙන්නේ මොන balances වලින්ද? මොන amounts වලින්ද? Here it's clear. Set off by 28,900. That's the intergroup receivable. But when it comes to the payable, payable should be what? Receivable වලයි මෙතන sorry SS company කෙනා sorry SS company කෙනා receivables payables එකමයි. එතකොට ඒකේ payables receivables එකම amount එකෙන් අඩු වෙනවා. මෙතන S company කෙනා receivables වලින් අඩු වෙනවා 56,900. payable වලින් අඩු වෙනවා කොච්චරද? 45,600. Okay. Thank you. We'll come to that adjustment with the consolidated statement of financial position. Anyway, when it comes to this adjustment, it does not impact the retained earnings. When it comes to this adjustment, these two adjustments, they does not impact the retained earnings. Okay. Therefore, we'll keep it for a while and we'll quickly transfer the post-acquisition retained earnings to the consolidated retained earnings and the NCA. We'll quickly transfer the post-acquisition retained earnings to the COC and to the consolidated retained earnings and the NCI. මේක transfer කරලා බලමුකෝ. Here's 119,000. From this 119,000, we took out 40,000 as the pre-acquisition retained earnings. And another 2,000 as provision for unrealized profit. Then from whatever the remaining balance to the consolidated retained earnings, we need to provide 75%. The consolidated retained earnings, 75%. And to the NCI, remaining 25%. Then to the consolidated retained earnings, from the retained earnings of S, 57,500. To the NCI, from retained earnings of S, 10,250. Okay. Then here with the retained earnings of SS, to the consolidated retained earnings, we have a balance of 74,200. From these, we have already taken out 60,000 as the pre-acquisition retained earnings and another 5,000 for provision for unrealized profit. Then from whatever the remaining balance, 60% to the consolidated retained earnings and the balance amount to the NCI. Then the consolidated retained earnings credit, retained earnings of SS, 5,250. NCI credit, retained earnings of SS, 3,680. 3,680. Okay. Then we'll take the current down balances of retained earnings and NCI. Hmm. Okay. Make it clear. අපි අතින් තෙමුවන්. දැන් දාවේ goodwill එක read down කරේ consolidated retained earnings නැන්නේ. ළමයි goodwill impairment එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක නිසා තමයි goodwill account එක credit කරලා consolidated retained earnings debit කරලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි නේද? goodwill impairment එකක් තියෙනවා ගාන කියවන්නයි පාරා. Okay, now we'll prepare the consolidated statement of financial position. Here. Then we have the land. 89, 30, 65 without any adjustments. 89,000 plus 30 plus 65. Okay. 184 as the land balance. Then for the buildings. For the buildings, again, there was no any adjustments. Yes, for the building, there was no any adjustments. 64, 80, 23, 6. 64,000, 80,000, 23,600. 64, 80, sorry, 64, 80, 23,600. Okay. Then for the plant, 3384, but we had a intergroup balance, intergroup profit of 2,000, intergroup profit of 2,000. The plant, then we have 33,000 plus 84,000 plus 43,800, but minus 2,000. Can you remember that one? අපිට එහෙම එකක් තිබ්බ නේද? Then the investments are set off. We have eliminated these intergroup investments. Then the goodwill has been written off. No goodwill balance. Then the current assets. Under current assets, first we have the inventory. Again, with the inventory, we had adjustment. Again, with the inventory, we had adjustments. As inventory, we have 108,500 plus 75,500 plus 68,400, but from this 75,500, for the provision for unrealized profit, we deducted 5,000. Make it clear that? Make it clear that? Okay. Then for the receivables. As the receivables, we are having balances of 196,700 plus 124,800 plus 83,500. අපිට තියෙනවා receivables කියලා මේ balances තුන. Trade receivable 196,700, 124,800, 83,500. But in the question, it mentions that, says that intergroup balances are included in the receivables and payables respectively and are as follows. Then in the receivables of P, of S company and SS, we have receivable from P intragroup 56,900 and 28,900. Then we need to eliminate these two balances. Then the P balances දෙක එළියට ගන්නවා. තේරුණාද? P balances දෙක එළියට ගන්නවා. හරි. Then from this we take out 59,600 and 28,900. Okay. Then our receivable balance type करा වැරදි නේ 50 type කरा වැරදි නේ 56,900 type කरा වැරදි this should be 56,900 56,900 it's 56,900 okay then we have cash at bank then we have cash at bank as cash at bank we are having 25,200 plus 25,400 25,400 but again here we have identified what the cash in transit තිබ්බ නේද cash in transit එකක් තියෙනවනේ This company received a check drawn from P for 11,300 on 28 March 2025 yes එතකොට ඒක මොකද්ද වෙන්න ඕනේ මෙතෙන්දි ළමයි අපිට options දෙකක් තියෙනවා මේකේ අපිට තියෙනවා cash at bank තියෙනවා bank overdraft එක තියෙනවා cash at we are having the cash at bank and we are having the bank overdraft also කොතනින්ද මේක අඩු වෙන්න ඕනේ අඩු වෙනවද sorry අඩු වෙනවද වැඩි වෙනවද අපි cash at bank ගත්තොත් එතෙන්දි මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ cash at bank වලට නම් මේක adjustment එක අපි කරන්නේ we need to මොකද මට දැන් ආයෙ answers දෙක වෙනවා sorry මාර් තපලවනවනේ හිතපු ගමන් අපිට දැන් balances දෙකක් තියෙනවා cash at bank balance එකක් තියෙනවා bank overdraft කියන balance එකක් තියෙනවා අපි මේ cash in transit එක cash at bank වලට adjust කරමු මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ cash at bank at bank overdraft එකට adjust කරමු bank OD එක මොකද වෙන්නේ නෑ bank overdraft එක මොකද වෙන්න ඕනේ bank overdraft එකට දැම්මොත් cash at bank වලට දැම්මොත් හරි ඒකට cash at bank balance එක වැඩි වෙනවා bank overdraft එකට adjust කරමු yes cash at bank should be added back bank overdraft should be reduced yes ඔය option දෙකෙන් මොකක්ද අපි ගන්න ඕනේ option එක මේක හරි cash at bank නම් ඒකට add back කරන්න ඕනේ bank overdraft එක නම් bank overdraft එකෙන් අඩු කරන්න ඕනේ එහෙමනේ වෙන්න ඕනේ cash in transit එකක් නේ ඒතර මේ options දෙකෙන් මොකක්ද යන්න ඕනේ මේක ඉන්ඩිවිජුවල් කම්පැනි වයිස් හිතුවොත් එහෙම ඇත්තටම මේකේ බෑන්ක් OD එක තියෙන්නේ S කම්පැනි එකේ. කෑෂ් ඇට් බෑන්ක් බැලන්ස් එකක් තියෙන්නේ පේරන්ට් P ගේ. එතකොට එහෙම බැලුවොත් අපිට පුළුවන් මේ පේරන්ට් ඇඩ් කරන්න. හැබැයි අපි group එක විදිහට consolidated statement එක දිහා බැලුවොත් අපිට මේ බෑන්ක් එකට ඇඩ් කරනවට වඩා favorable presentation එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද? බෑන්ක් OD එක අඩු කරලා වෙන්නේ. නේද? සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකේදී වෙන්නේ දැන් consolidated මේ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකේදී වෙන්නේ මේක කෙලින්ම shape එකේ බෑන්ක් OD එකෙන් අඩු කරලා පෙන්නනවා presentation එකට. තේරුණාද? ඉන්ඩිවිජුවල් කම්පැනි වයිස් ගත්තොත් මේ චෙක් එක ඉෂුව කරලා තියෙන්නේ කවුද? පේරන්ට් නේ ඉෂුව කරලා තියෙන චෙක් එක. P නේ entity P නේ චෙක් එක ඉෂුව කරලා තියෙන්නේ. is received a check drawn by P. P නේ චෙක් එක ඉෂුව කරලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් මේක අපි ඇඩ් බෑක් කරන්න ඕනේ P ගේ බෑන්ක් බැලන්ස් එකට. ඒක තමයි හරි ප්‍රොසීඩියර් එක. හැබැයි ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකේදී මේක වෙන්නේ ඇත්තටම අපි consolidated statement එක හදද්දී අපිට බෑන්ක් OD එකක් තියෙනවා නම් අපි shape එකේ බෑන්ක් OD එක අඩු කරලා වෙන්නන. බෑන්ක් OD එක අඩු කරන්න බැරිද group ledger එකේ? group ledger එකේදී අපිට හිමීට බෑන්ක් OD එකෙන් ඔක අඩු කරලා පෙන්නන්න පුළුවන්. පුළුවන්. අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හරි විදිහ අරක වුණත් හරි entity බලලා මේක දැම්මොත් එහෙම මෙතන peak එක cash at bank එක වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ. හැබැයි අපිට මෙතන තියෙන බෑන්ක් OD එකත් අඩු කරලා පෙන්නන්න පුළුවන් නම් group ledger එකේ අපි shape එකේ presentation එකේදී මේක කරනවා. මෙතෙන්ට මොකක් adjustment එකක් කරන්නේ නැහැ. We do not make any adjustments here. We keep it as like this. Okay? And we'll take the total assets like this. Then we'll adjust this to the bank overdraft. We adjust this to the bank overdraft. Okay. Then the equity or the stated capital, we are having the balance of, as the stated capital, we are having the balance 200,000. Then the consolidated retained earnings. Consolidated retained earnings are having this balance. Then the NCI, we are having this balance. Then on the current liabilities, under current liabilities, we are having the bank overdraft. The bank overdraft. The bank overdraft is 37,400. 37,400. From this, we can deduct 11,300. From this, we can deduct 11,300. Then we are having the trade payable. The payable balances. As the payable balances, we are having 240 plus 207, 200,700 plus 71,200. 71,200. But from this, as intragroup balances, we had 45,600 and 28,900. We had 45,600 and 28,900. This is the final payable balance. And when it comes to the intragroup balances, which we took out from the payable and receivable, they stop. Payable. Receivable payable කතාව clear දැන්. Oh. අපි මේ මෙතන මෙන්න මේ set off කරගන්න identify කරගන්න 11,300 වලට විතරයි adjustment එක දාගන්න. අපි ඒක මෙතනින් අඩු කරලා මෙන්න. Then the income tax. The income tax 57,400 plus 47,200 plus 24,500. 129,100. And මෙතන balance එක අපිට end that has small doubt here. Small and open. Yes. Right, so the small anomaly. We are having a different balance. Depreciation amount. Depreciation amount we took, I think. In this question, now I'm typing, I have done a mistake. Just check the whether this total get tallied, I don't think. $100,000 plus 74,000 plus 174,000 plus 71,200 plus 24,500. $100,000 Oh, sorry. I said 174,000 correctly. Yes. There's a difference of 3,900. There's a difference of 40,000 there. Yes. Yeah, that's it. Another adjustment. Yeah. Now, when it comes to these adjustments, I have forgot that. Good. Thank you for this. For the plant, we have taken these balances and took out the additional cost of 2,000 as the provision for unrealized profit. And here again, we need to add back another 400 as the over depreciation of value. Depreciate kala tibbane. Ek අපි අපහු add කරන්න. We need to add this 400 here. Then sorry, not 400. How much? That was 200. Ne? That was 200. That was 200. And sorry for that. Yeah, it's 200. Sorry for that. Then here in your tude, please make this correction for the entity SS. Yeah, do we add this 40? Yes, add another 40,000 as bank overdraft, the liability balance. Here, the total of these liability balances does not match with 309,700. There's a difference of 40,000. My mistake. Sorry. Please doubt that one. මේ liability balances වල ළමයි මේ මෙන්න මේ ටිකේ මේ figures වල එකතුව 3,97,700 වෙන්නේ නැහැ. When I'm typing, I have missed a balance here. Get a bank overdraft balance of 40,000 here. Get a bank overdraft balance of 40,000 here. For the entity SS. Okay, for the entity SS. Then the bank overdraft should be increased by another 40,000. Then yeah, statement of financial position will be balanced. අර ඩබල් එන්ට්‍රීස් වල ඉෂුව එකක් නෙමෙයි තිබුණේ. මට එකක් මිස් වුණා මෙතන plant වල additional depreciation එක add back කරේ නෑ. That was 200. Then in the question there's a difference of 40,000 that we can add to the bank overdraft. Okay, then this get tallied. හරි ළමයි මේ adjustments ටික තේරුණාද මට කියන්නේ අපි මුලින්ම discuss කරේ the first we focused on acquisition by the parent after the subsidiary acquired the subsidiary. මුලින්ම subsidiary එක subsidiary එක acquire කරලා තිබුණේ. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි parent මේ group එකට එන්නේ subsidiary එක acquire කරලා. එතකොට අපි effective date එක විදිහට ගන්න ඕනි. Effective date for the pre and post acquisition retained earnings, we need to take the date which the parent acquired the subsidiary. Okay, ඒක clearද? මේක මුලින්ම කතා කරපු point එක ඒක clearද? හරි. ඊට පස්සේ අපි then we calculate the goodwill. When we are calculating the goodwill as the pre-acquisition retained earnings, we took the retained earnings to that particular effective date. stood at the date which the parent acquired the subsidiary. For the NCI proportionate calculation and to transfer the pre-acquisition retained earnings from the retained earnings to COC. දෙකටම ගත්තේ අපි එකම balance එක. ඒක clearද? ඊට පස්සේ අපි goodwill calculate කරා and there was a goodwill impairment of goodwill. Then we took out the goodwill balance, goodwill credit, consolidated retained earnings, debit. මේක හරියද? goodwill impairment එක, goodwill credit, consolidated retained earnings, debit. ඊට පස්සේ අපි ගත්තා unrealized provision එක for the intra-group trading. First for the inventory balance, margin of 20%, then we took 20% of the sales price as the unrealized profit. මේක හරියද? margin උනොත් මෙහෙමයි, markup උනොත් කොහොමද ළමයි වෙන්නේ? markup උනොත් markup එක 120යි කිව්වා. එතකොට අපි හැම වෙලාවෙම selling price එක ගන්න කීයේ විදිහට 120 විදිහට. එතකොට selling price එක 120ෙන් බෙදලා 20ෙන් වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ. මේ markup උනොත් margin උනොත් කෙලින්ම selling price එක දීලා තියෙන margin price එකෙන් වැඩි කරනවා. margin percentage එකෙන් වැඩි කරනවා. හරිද? ඒක clearද? margin උනොත් දීලා තියෙන percentage එකෙන් selling price එක කෙලින්ම වැඩි කරලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි markup උනොත් එහෙම කොහොමද වෙන්නේ? හැම වෙලාවෙම selling price එක කියන්නේ එතකොට markup එක 120යි නම් selling price එක කියන්නේ 100 නෙවෙයි මෙතන තියෙන 120. එහෙම වුණොත් 120ෙන් බෙදලා 20ෙන් වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ. හරි නේද? මේ margin markup මේකට question වල එන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට තිබුණා asset එකක්. over value කරලා sell කරලා. එතකොට ඒ over value එක අපි අයින් කරගත්තා. sell කරපු අයගේ retained earnings වලින් සහ purchase කරපු අයගේ asset balance එක. හරිනේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඒකට over value එකට over depreciation එකක් තිබුණා. ඒ over depreciation එක අපි depreciate කරපු අයගේ පැත්තේ retained earnings වලට add back කරා. retained earnings credit කරා. asset balance එක debit කරා. හරිද? ඒකත් clearද? ඊට පස්සේ අපිට තිබුණා intra group balances ටික. අපි intra group balances ටික අරගෙන ඒක set off කරගත්තා cash in transit එකත් එක්ක. cash in transit එකත් එක්ක. ඊට පස්සේ intra group balances ටික අපි receivables වලින් payables වලින් අඩු කරගත්තා. හරි. මේ ටික තමයි අපි කරේ. අලුතෙන් කරේ. හරි ළමයි. මේක ක්ලියර්ද? එතකොට මේ අපි අද කතා කරපු ටික හරි. එහෙනම් next week එකේ ඉඳන් හිමාංශට hand over කරනවා sessions ටික. මම ඔයාලට අපිට එක week එකක් මග ඇරුණානේ. ඒකට ඒ week එකට හරියන්න අපේ course outline එකේ අපි ඉන්නේ මේ 5th week එකේ නේද ළමයි? 5th week එකේ first week එක තිබෙන මාසෙට ඒක මම කරා. ඊට පස්සේ 4 වෙනකන් තියෙන්නේ මට. ඊගාව එකත් මටමයි තියෙන්නේ. හරි. හරි එහෙනම් next week එකේ මම case 33 operating segments එක කතා කරලා හිමාංශයට hand over කරනවා. හැබැයි මම ආපහු පාරක් රිවිෂන් එකක් දාලා තියෙනවානේ. wrap up session එකක්. wrap up session එකේදී මම මේක හිමාංශයෙන් අරගන්නවා ආපහු. අරගෙන ඔයාලත් එක්ක මේ consolidation උයි ඊට පස්සේ මම ආපහු ඉස්සරහට තව කරන්න තියෙනවා මට yes accounting for business restructuring mergers acquisition and amalgamations ඔන්න ඔතනත් මට ආයෙනවා. ඒතකොට මම එතෙන්දි කතා කරනවා investment in associates investment in joint ventures කතා කරනවා. ඔය දෙකෙන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ගිය පාර පේපර් එකේත් ලකුණු 50ක් විතර වගේ ඔය sections දෙකෙන් සහ ඊට පස්සේ අරගෙන ලකුණු 60ක් විතර වගේ ලකුණු 50ක් විතර වගේ එන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක නිසා ඒ ටික එකතු කරලා final question එකක් model question එකකුත් discuss කරන්න. හරි. කමන්නේ. මම next week එකෙත් ආයි අපි මොන හැම වෙන්නේ. next week එකේ බලමු. LMS එකට නෙමෙයි මම දැන් මෙතන කොහොමත් එකයි තියෙන්නේ නේද? LMS එකට මෙතෙන්ට දැම්මත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ share කරගන්නවා. LMS එකට දැම්මම share කරගන්නවා. මෙතෙන්ට දානවා. current image. හරි අන්න chat එකේ තියෙනවා download කරගන්න. නෑ හැමෝටම නෙමෙයි. හරි download කරගන්න පුළුවන් නම් chat එකේ තියෙනවා. one second. ඉක්මන download කරගන්න මම මේක. download කරගෙන කියන්නේ download කරගත්තා කියලා මම meeting එකෙන් කරන්නම්. Okay, good. Then good night all of you and thank you for participating.
Recording stop.